Hello everybody and welcome back to a new video. Yes. Today we have a special video. I filmed this video about a week ago, but like so much has happened and I hadn't really had the time to edit it, so I just wanted to re-record it because of how much has changed. I just wanted to make a quick video talking about the 2023 playoff races cuz it has been incredible. So like I wanted to start off with just talking about like the first we're going to talk about the division, then move on to the wild card. So if we just start with the divisions, I wanted to start in the AL with the AL East, where there's still a pretty interesting race going on between the Baltimore Orioles and the Tampa Bay Rays, which right now Baltimore is leading Tampa Bay in 2 games, which if you look, it's really not that much. 2 games. You can see that Tampa Bay have been playing very well recently. 8 wins and 2 losses in their last 10 compared to Baltimore 7-3. Incredible. Tampa Bay next game is against Miami compared to Baltimore, Arizona. So they're both facing some playoff teams with playoff aspiration, I should say. But as you can see, Tampa Bay is playing tonight. So if Tampa Bay wins tonight, they're going to take a half game on Baltimore. So it's becoming very interesting. The AL Central, it's not that close, but at the same time, if Cleveland goes on a winning streak or Minnesota goes on a losing streak, there's still a race to be had. Cleveland right now 5 games behind Minnesota. Minnesota, they're not playing. They're 5-for-5 in their last 10, but Cleveland also 5-for-5. But they're starting a series against each other, Minnesota and Cleveland. So if Minnesota loses the series, Cleveland's back in it, and if Minnesota wins the series, I think they've won the division. I kind of feel like if Minnesota wins the series, they've won the division, because it's going to be hard for Cleveland to get back from 7 games back, because I think it's a 3-game series. I could be wrong, but if Cleveland can take 2 out of 3, they're going to be 3 games behind. So, or they'll be 4 behind. So yeah, this is interesting. I do expect it to be close for the rest of the year, but it's a pretty good race. Now moving on to probably the best race to be had so far in the AL West between Seattle, Texas, and Houston, who are all right now tied for first place in that division. You got the Seattle Mariners 57, Texas Rangers 75-57 also, and Houston 76-58. So Houston has 2 more games than everybody else. As you can see, Texas in their last 10 are 3-7, but they were like on an 8-game losing streak, so they've kind of picked it back up. You can see Houston are 6-4 with a 4-game win streak, so they've kind of picked it up very much. And Seattle in the last 2 weeks have been playing absolutely incredible. As of recording, they are playing. I don't know what the score is. I'll go check it real quick. Yeah, the game just started, so it's 0-0, but this division's super close. If I'd be betting my money on it, I think Houston would end up picking it and winning the division because of their playoff experience and their big game players. So, but this is going to be an absolute treat to watch for the rest of the year. Now moving on to the NL, there's 2 divisions that we can completely skip, which is NL East and the NL West, because both the Dodgers and the Atlanta Braves have run away with it and are pretty much guaranteed to win their division. The only race that these 2 teams are actually in is who's going to win the NL. Right now you can see that Atlanta is 86-45 compared to LA, who are 82-49, but LA have been playing incredible lately, like Mookie Betts, who's been absolutely on another world, and Atlanta also have been playing well. So I do think Atlanta will win the division, but who knows. Now we're moving on to a pretty good race in the NL Central. You know, the race was better a few weeks ago, but there still is a race. Cincinnati's been playing poor lately, so they are 7 games back. So they're pretty much just trying to buy a wild card at this point. You got Chicago Cubs that are 4 games back. 4 games is a lot, but as I said, they are playing each other right now. So if Chicago can find a way to win this series versus the Brewers, they're 2 games out of it. That's pretty close. And then you have Milwaukee, who has a 4-game lead, as I said, 74 and 58 on the season. But what has been incredible is recently they have been playing absolutely incredible baseball, as they are 9-1 in their last 10 games. Anytime you go 9-1, you know you're going to be taking the lead of some sort. But this is really what I wanted to talk about right here. I wanted to talk about the 2 wildcard standings as of today. So as you can see, we're going to start with the NL. You got 3 teams. The 3 teams that are holding a playoff spot as of today is Philadelphia with a 4.5 games over Chicago. Then you got Chicago, who is 1 game over the Giants, and then you have the Giants, who are only 0.5 games above Arizona, 2 games above Cincinnati, and 3 big games above Miami. So there's an absolutely incredible race going on here right now. I think Philadelphia has been playing really well recently, 7-3 in their last 10. So I do think that they will hold on to win a wildcard spot. Also, with Chicago playing very well, I do expect it. San Francisco been an absolute pleasant has been an absolute pleasant surprise so far this year. They're 69 and 63 and have been 5-5, struggling. But Kyle Harrison looked great the other day. They got their young catcher. They got a young team, a very platoon team, and also a very streaky team. But I do think that they have a very good team and a good chance. But I do want to put my money on Arizona. I do like Arizona's team more, and I do love Zach Gallen, Merrill Kelly, Alex Thomas, Corbin Carroll, Lourdes Gurriel, Gabriel Moreno. I just really like Arizona's team, and I do think they have a good chance to do it. They are playing LA, so it's very, very, very tough. And Cincinnati, they are only 2 games behind, but recently they've been playing against big teams. They played a series against San Francisco and are not playing well. They played a series against Arizona. They did not play that well. So they've kind of the young team has kind of cooled down. And then you have Miami, who, since getting Josh Bell and Zach Berger, they've played incredible, but the rest of the team hasn't looked incredible. And they're 3-7, so I kind of think that Miami are going to fall off. But their pitching staff is really good, so who knows. Now we're moving on to the AL wildcard. This is not as interesting as the NL wildcard. The only thing that's very interesting so far is there is a race between Seattle, Texas, and Houston for that division. So the 2 other teams who do not win that division will be battling for a wildcard spot. But those 3 teams are 3.5 games above the Jays and 6.5 out of Boston. Boston could go on a hot streak, but I don't expect it. So I do think Boston's pretty much out of it. And as a Jays fan, seeing the Jays 3.5, the other day when I filmed this, I think they were 1.5 or they were 2 games. It wasn't that much. And now to see that they're 3.5, 5-5, haven't not played that good recently. They need a hot streak like every other team is going on right now. But Houston, Texas, Seattle, Tampa Bay's 5.5 games up. So Tampa Bay's pretty much sure, and they've been playing very great recently. So if I do my prediction, I do think that as you see it right now, it will end. I do just see Houston probably winning the division, meaning Tampa Bay, the wild cards being Tampa Bay, Seattle, and real quick, I just want to put the scenario of what the playoffs would be if these standings were to stay exactly as they are. Starting with the AL, you would have Baltimore Orioles and the Seattle Mariners getting a bye in the first round, or Texas. But I think Seattle has the series win over Texas, so I think Seattle would pass. Then you would have Minnesota playing against Houston, and you'd have Tampa Bay versus Texas. So that's a very good series. And then in the NL, you would have Atlanta and LA getting a bye in the first round. And then San Francisco versus Milwaukee and Chicago Cubs versus the Philadelphia Phillies. So the playoff race this year has looked incredibly entertaining. It looks good. The playoffs are going to be super fun with some surprising teams and all this. I can't wait for it to start. I'll keep coverage coming, and I hope you all enjoy. Tell me what you think is going to happen. Who's going to win the division? Who's going to flop with this last month left? Which team is going to elevate their game with this last month left? I love you all. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.